Well, hey everybody. Welcome to another stream, another update on this work. The past week I've been doing focusing quite a bit on some interactions and trying to tie them in with with the quest system that I showed last time, and just also making the interaction with these items a little bit more complex. One of the examples is one of the missions in the game will require you to power up a generator, and of course, kind of simple. Nothing too fancy about it. But I was thinking about I didn't want it to make it just okay, interact with this place here, and then the generator works. I wanted to make it a little bit more complicated. So one of the missions is to actually get a fuse, which for example, is this fuse here. So to get a fuse, and with that fuse, to um, make this kind of fuse box for you to be able to actually turn it on. Because there's a fuse in a fuse box that actually sends power to somewhere, right? So I wanted to have that available, and so at this point, once you're able to flip the switch, you turn on an item. So right now, everything is almost in place as far as interacting with this, and enabling a separate item, which is, for example, this one here. So right now, the fuse box itself has a few actors that it enables. So one of them is this fuse door. So once you kind of flip the switch to on, you can close the door basically, right? So it gives you a little bit more interactions, and also enables a separate item, which in this case is this neon light. And so let me show you how that works right now. So if I was to go to this item, as you can see, you can't really interact with the door, because if you were to close it, it would just overlap with the switch. So right now you can flip the switch, and at this point you can close the door, and this one got enabled. Let me actually make this so it's nighttime so we can see it a little bit better. And right now this one has a little bit, actually, now that I'm looking at it, has a little bit of an issue. So let's fix that real quick, because it does not there's a couple of lights to it, right? There's a rectangular light, and then kind of just a little bit of a bounce light that I have here. So if you were to turn this on, this is how it would be. Once you turn it off, this one of these still is left on. So let's fix that real quick. So I have a couple of functions here to turn the light on and turn the light off. Let me see, where did I put that? So there's turn light on, and actually it's just based on a Boolean. Basically, that's all it does. So let's add, along with the rectangular light, I believe it might be this point light that I haven't disabled. So let's also make that there. So that's at runtime. But let's also do the construction. Let me see if where that one is done. Why have I missed it? I guess I was only touching on the rectangular light for the visibility. There we go. So let's add this here as well for setting the visibility. Now let's take a look. So now that one's, everything is off. Now it's on. So once you interact with the switch here, that light gets turned on. If you flip it off, it gets turned off. So all that is done just via an interface, basically. So I have these actors affected. So if I was to look at, for example, the fuse box itself, all I'm doing is let's take a look. So there we go, right here. And so I have an array of these actors that it affect. So in this case, we were looking at this, and the actors affected was the fuse door, right? So when the switch is flipped on, you can close the door, and this one also turns on. So that's why I had an array of these. So if you want to have one item affect multiple items, this is how I did it. I have this array of affected actors affected, and basically what happens is when I interact with it, and you can find a bunch of tutorials on interaction, I have a few states for that. So once it starts and closed, there's a couple of things, like playing the audio and then setting the rotation. This is something that I was playing around with an icon. Doesn't pay no mind. So and after that, what I'm doing is on the actors affected array, I'm running a quick for loop, and I'm enabling each item, which is via this inventory interface. So I'm calling this as a message, and that message gets sent to all the actors affected. And in my neon light, I have a quick implementation of that, which is event enable item. That just calls a function to turn the light on, which is the one that we were looking at. Kind of setting the visibility for the lights and basically turning the light on. So yeah, pretty simple. Interfaces are pretty powerful. I really like working with them. And so yeah, this is a little bit of work that I was doing, and kind of making it a little bit more immersive. When you interact with something like this, you can close this, and once this is closed, it kind of works both ways, right? So at the moment, as you can see, I can't interact with the switch inside the box because the door is closed. So once you open it, this is still interactable, but now you can flip it off. The light goes off, and I can't interact with the door anymore because we can't really close the door with the switch on the off position. So now I can close the door. So there we go. So yeah, that's a quick update, and what I wanted to do is I wanted to hopefully during the stream implement as you can, in the previous one we were playing around with let me make it daylight. We were playing a little bit with grabbing a soup can and like feeding the dog, and then going back to our NPC here and updating him on the situation. So so I've added another mission to him, and so another set to that dialogue tree. Let me just pull that up real quick. Let's see where that is. I'm hoping I think the audio is still working. That looks good. And so what I've added to this is kind of another mission. So once you're done with feeding Rocco, it will go into another dialogue once you interact with him. So so this is kind of some help with finding a fuse to power up the electrical panel, and so that's what I'm gonna try and do today. So let's take a look. So first thing that I want to do is let's see how this works first. So I'm kind of going to start from scratch real quick. So talking to Jim, I'm still debating whether to keep the kind of the bluish around him or not keep any of that highlighting interactions on. So you get the first quest, which was kind of feeding Rocco. So now just picking up the soup can, now bringing the soup can to Rocco. So that got completed. Now checking in with Jim that he is fed. Okay, bye. And from here I can also go into directly into the follow-up quest. So now I'm just going to talk to him, and he's going to say, okay, I also need some help with finding a fuse to power up the electrical panel. So okay, I'll do it. And now you want to try and find a fuse, and there it is. I've already added this fuse to the quest, so I can like pick up the fuse. And now the second part of this is replacing the fuse in the main panel. But the one thing I haven't added is, where's the main panel? So what I'm gonna do is, in my fuse here, I have the manager quest target. So this is gonna be a fuse box. I'm gonna go ahead and edit the quest list that I have, and we were looking at it in the previous streams. So let me find it. Quest list. Alright, so I think it's this one. There we go. So turning the power on. Well, first of all, let's see if I have two of these. I do. So there's a second one, and that's replacing the fuse in the main panel. Let's take a look at objectives. And this was actually called electric panel, but let's call it, I believe, I named this fuse box, so I'm going to call this fuse box. Alright, so this is going to be fuse box. There we go. And one thing that I need to take a look at is targets to interact. Target name is going to be fuse box. And we'll check to make sure that that's what where the marker is placed on, right? Because at the end, as you saw with the other ones, you know, there's a little marker on these things. So, you know, when you interact with one of the items, you have the little, and I think I might need to reset it just so that I can show you. So, you know, once you get the first quest, you know, you get this little marker on top of the items that you need to pick up. So I need to get that happening with the actual fuse box. So let's do that. One thing that I want to do first is I think I'm going to switch the order of these. So I'm going to try and see by moving, hopefully by moving it to the left. Hopefully this one gets picked up first, so I don't have to go through all the you know, all the first part of, you know, the feeding Rocco quest. So let's take a look and see if that one gets picked up first. Alright, so there we go. Yeah, I also need help with finding a fuse, and okay, I'll do it. And let's see. Find a fuse, but the fuse doesn't get assigned. And let's take a look at what's going on here. So this one is going to assign the quest. And the only problem is the way the quest system is set up. Some of these, like for example, when it comes to this quest system, at least this ultimate quest manager, it's the name of it. You have a couple of items. So you have a add to log type of quest, which when you interact or when you start the game, especially when you had that, you know, you had to find gem to get this completed. But there's also like feed Rocco, which is take from target, and then turn power on is also take from target. So these are like you interact with the NPC and you get the quest from them. This find gem was like right off the bat when you started the game. So let's try a little bit of a change here. I think I might want to do it like this. So kind of replacing the order of the feeding Rocco with the fuse panel, and we'll try that. Alright, let's see what happens. So jumping into game mode. So it's, it's going to default to finding Jim. And then I can say, okay, sure, what is it? And I'm not sure why it defaults into feed Rocco right off the bat. Oh, because it assigns the new, so this one, it's assigning the quest for Rocco. Let's try this again, like going back the way it was. This is what I like about this dialog plugin, that just by rearranging things, it takes it in the tree order. So that works pretty nicely. And should have gone to this one. Let's try and change the turn power on from take from target to add to log. Let's see if that works a little bit better. Not so much. I wonder why. Well, until I figured that out, yeah, I'm probably just gonna leave it as is, so as not to break anything else while doing that. But let's, the one thing that I need to do is, when I get to that point, I need to have this, have the little markers show up on top of it. So let's see about doing that. And I think what I'm missing here is, this is a quest related item, because not all of them need to be quest related, but some of them will. Like in this case, there can be multiple soup cans that you probably pick up before getting the quest, and at that point that whole objective gets completed. But if you haven't done it, then I'm only going to have maybe one of them have the one that's quest related, so I'm going to send you to that. Alright, let's go ahead and find Jim. Okay, I'll do it. So now we'll do the soup can, and bring in the soup can to Rocco. Whoa. And now checking in with Jim. Yeah, he's fed. Okay, bye. And talking to him again. Okay, I'll do it. So now I can pick up the fuse. Now we got to replace the fuse, and there's our marker as properly placed. There's a little bit of change that you can make, because right now, as you can see, like the marker is right on where I believe the origin point for this particular item is, right on that corner. So so we can go into our list here, and let's take a look. So that's turn power on, and let's take a look at the marker. I also want to make the markers in a way that they're kind of significant items, so not necessarily a quest giver like Jim or like the NPC, but I want him to make him like this, just the empty icon of, hey, you gotta head on here for this. So I'm gonna adjust a couple of things. So that's the fuse, and I want to make it this offset is pretty big, so I want to make it like I made it for the can. So let's take a look at the can. I think that one was for 30. Yeah, so 30 should be a little bit better when it comes to pointing you to the fuse. And let's take a look at the fuse panel, and let's see, where's the marker info. And I'm gonna put it, I think the height is good, but I'm gonna move it, hopefully, I think it's in the y-axis, or it's in the x. Let's try the x. So in the x by maybe 50, we'll see how that places that tag. Now I think I might need to reset the the save game. So this Ultimate Quest Manager has this really cool thing where you can delete since it runs on the player state, has this little widget that you can delete save game, so that way you can start over and retest your quests. But now that I have the tag placed in there, and I'll play around with it off stream to see how where the positioning of it would work best for this particular item. So now that I have this, one thing that I need to do is I have the fuse box in my inventory. But when I interact with this guy, you know, I shouldn't be able to trip this unless I have the unless I actually use the the fuse. So kind of like before when we had the soup can in the inventory and interacting with the dog removed that soup can and the dog entered that new state. Similar thing is going to happen here. So if we go back to the fuse box, one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to change the state of it. So I'm going to make it to be, let's see, maybe do action. So I'm still struggling with whatever names work best for this, but you know, if it works for you, it could be XYZ. You know, it doesn't really matter, but you know, from a readability standpoint. So back in the fuse box, what I'm going to do is if it's in do action and I interact with it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the state to closed. So let's duplicate this. So my interaction state, which is this, is going to be set to closed. So that way, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the fuse box from my inventory, and setting the state for my fuse box to be interactable, where I can like pull the switch lever. So let's do that. And I need a quick pick me up from the little dog here to see. So there's a little bit of old stuff there. Spaghetti interacting with the dog. So let's see exactly where I'm removing the soup can. So let's take a look. Try Quest Manager interaction. So, and this is one of the kind of the managers of this particular one is for the quest target, but there's another one for the mission that has a lot more functions. But what I've done for this, I've actually modified this try finish objective. So let's see where I have that. So this is the manager mission, and what happens here is depending on the objective type, in my case would be a custom one, I'm going to look at what items need to be removed from the inventory to complete the quest. So if that is possible, then everything, and apologies for the spaghetti if you're looking at this, but if you do have this plugin, what I've added was right where it goes to update objective widget, I'm checking to see the objective type, and if it's of custom 1, and as you can see with the dog, it's a custom 1, and at that point it knows that if it's a custom 1, what I'm going to attempt, and this is kind of just the spaghetti of iterating through the inventory, I'm going to attempt to remove that item. And the item, I'm adding it right here. So let's see, where is that? Let's take a look at Feed Rocco. And with Feed Rocco, when we get to the second objective, where is it? Where is it? So there's this one. So Feed Rocco. This is at the point where we have the soup can. So once you get to Feed Rocco, let's see, where did I put the... my mistake. I forgot. One of the issues that I ran into with this particular tool, Ultimate Quest Manager, was that I wasn't able to modify, and I think this is a Unreal issue. I wasn't able to modify the existing structs to add the particular item that I wanted to remove. So what I've done, it's a little bit of a workaround, hack kind of thing. So let's take a look at that. And I'm trying to figure out where that struct is. Bear with me for a quick second. Objective items to remove. Let me find that real quick. Alright, so here we go. So I kind of made a kind of a sister connected table or a data table. So the struct is like this. It's got a row name of Rocco and the quest name, objective name, and the item to remove. So for example, if I look at Rocco with the quest name sorry, the objective name of Rocco, I know that the item that I need to look at and try to remove from my inventory is a soup can. So there you go. But so now I'm going to add another row, and I'm going to call this. This is going to be fuse box, and I'm going to have an item to remove. And you can add multiple items to remove if the quest so calls for, to remove from the inventory. And so this one is going to be an item list. Let's see, fuse, and I'm going to want to remove one. So you can, if the quest itself asks for multiple, I need 5 fuses, then I can just change this count to 5 and say, well, you need 5 fuses. And at that point, whenever this happens here, I can also trigger a message saying that, well, in this case, it's pretty just a print string for development purposes. But I can say, you're missing, this, and that. And so as a way to determine that, well, you're missing 3 fuses, you only have 2 or something like that. So so now let's try that out. Let's see, do I have everything in here? I actually need an objective name. I haven't put that in, so let's do that. Fuse box. Alright, so now we can take a look and see, once I have the fuse box, if interacting with this guy, and actually I forgot to put something in here, just like with the dog, when you interact with him, we're going to try and run the quest manager interaction. So this is part of the items they need to implement with this Ultimate Quest Manager. So let's take a look at that. I think I can just grab this section here and then this section here and add it into my fuse box there. Questing. There we go. So with this, what I'm going to try and do is, first of all, when you do the action, I'm going to go right into if it's quest related to check to see if it's quest related, if I'm interacting with the proper fuse box. And then I'm going to try the quest manager interaction, and this is going to try finish the objective. And as you remember, I'm not going to need this. And if you remember, the custom one is the one that's going to look at the inventory and look for that specific item. So let's take a look and see if that works. Might run into some issues. It was pretty off the cuff here. Okay, so first let's jump into game mode. The one thing that I don't have the fuse box at the moment, but let's see what happens if I interact with this guy. And so nothing works. Actually, that one does. So it does do the enabling at first, and I think I might have the orders messed up here. I think what I need to do is in here I need to have a branch. So if this is successful, at that point is where I need to change the interaction state. Yeah, I think that might be a little bit better. So let's put the interaction state here. So basically I was able to remove the item needed by this quest, and now I can change the state of it to opened. And I think, is it the one that I'm looking for or closed? I think it's actually closed, yeah. So this one's gonna go to closed. Alright, and let's do some a few breakpoints here. I'm gonna go into this, actually not here, sorry. And where is it? Fuse box, try finish objective, try finish objective. And let's see if we're gonna hit this remove item first, at least for the initial test. Alright, so let's see, I'm gonna try and interact with this, and unfortunately it's not hitting it. But the good thing is it's not changing the state of it, which is good. And one thing that I do want to do in this case is change the interaction text to be something like replace fuse. So in my fuse box in the construction script, if my state is do action, where it means I need to put in the fuse box, I'm going to change that to be do action, and then replace fuse. Alright, so I don't need to take care of anything else in here. This is just the construction script. So for the initial interaction with my fuse box, let's go to event graph real quick, and I wanted to jump in here and start the breakpointing a little further back. Alright, so now we have the replace fuse, and we're getting to that, and that's good. Let's move on. And actually I should have gone into this first. And I'm gonna add another one here. Alright, so resume, and we have that. And it's interesting that this one does not. So what it should do, it should call into here. Oh, and I also have an issue here with the objective tag of Rocco, which is not the correct one. So this should be Let's see, what was the objective tag for this? Turning power back on, fuse box. So that should help. And where's my fuse box? I'm going to change the objective tag to be fuse box. So let's add a breakpoint here as well. I'm going to go ahead and replace fuse. Resume that. Resume. Alright, so in here we have all the proper values. So let's go ahead and resume this. Oh, and there we go. So we're getting to the point of where we're trying to remove the needed items. So we have fuse and a count of, unfortunately it's not showing the debug for whatever reason. Sometimes it's odd that these don't show up when you break the structs. But let's go ahead and skip over this and let's see what gets returned. So unfortunately it returns false because I've just started and I don't have any fuses in my inventory. So let's go ahead and resume, and it says already you are missing, and I have a item from before trying to remove an item that's not in the inventory. So the text remains the same, which is great. And let's take a look and actually pick up the fuse this time. And actually I don't need this. So I have the fuse. And let's try and replace the fuse. So there you go. And now the light is turned on and I can flip the switches on and off. And also if I take a look at, unfortunately I need to pick up my backpack to take a look at the inventory. And there shouldn't be a fuse in here. I'm not sure why this one didn't get properly removed. So that's something to look at. But it did check, and it did go through my my function here. Where was it? Try to finish objective. The section here where it was based on the second data table, in particular the row name of fusebox. It knew that, okay, I'm gonna need to remove a fuse from the inventory. So there is the little issue of that one not being properly removed, though I need to figure out why, because that item should have been removed just like with the soup can. So I need to take a look at that and fix it. But yeah, that's basically how that's gonna work. And right now the item itself, like the 3D model, is not a proper one that fits the fuse box. So let's see if we can fix that, just from a visual standpoint. So right now the fuse box is this thing here, which is very nice. I mean, I think I got this on a very big sale if it wasn't free, which is nice about the marketplace. But let's see if we can figure out. I believe it might have been this one that has these fuses. Let's see, is it this one? Yeah, I think it's this one. There we go. Yeah, this is the one. The only thing about this one is, and what why I did like the other one was that this one has that little lever that you can pull on, so it's I think it's a little bit of a bigger visual impact of having that. And this one unfortunately doesn't. I mean, yeah, you can put in the fuses, but it doesn't have the kind of the visual impact and also kind of noise impact of pulling the lever. So that was the cool part about the other about this one. That's not to say that looking at these particular items from a 3D perspective, I think I can manage to hack away this section here and bring it into here. I'm not entirely sure how. I think it couldn't be too complicated. I'm just trying to figure out a place where to put it. Um, so yeah, that would have been nice if this one had kind of a lever system or a switch that you could turn on. Um, I'm wondering if it might be easy to bring this kind of the connectors and the flip switch into this one, and from looking at it, it seems I'm like gonna keep it like this. It seems like you can you could potentially replace this left hand section here um, and kind of place this in there. Oh, on the other hand, this looks like it could be divided sort of easily. So let's play a little bit with Blender just to kind of you know, get away from from all the chatter around blueprinting and all that, and do a little bit of 3D modeling as well. So let me see where I'm gonna go with my old and trusted 2.79 just for sake of knowing all the shortcuts. Alright, so back in the editor here, let me go ahead and I'm gonna export this particular model. So let's do I'm gonna export this, and let me see, where do I want to put it? Um, hmm, projects, exports. Let's save it here for now. So export that, and then this one. So export this one, and yep, there we go. Alright, so back in Blender, let me import these guys real quick. Import FBX, and it's in here. So that's fuse box number 1. Come on, you can do it. Alright, so there's one of them. And I'm just going to remove the collision. Not entirely sure. I've never been able to do some proper exports with these UCX values from Blender. But this is one of them. So, you know, looking pretty good. Now let's get the other one. Import FBX and number 2. Come on, you can do it. And there's number 2. And let me remove the collision here. Okay. And let's actually move this to the layer 2. So on layer 2, let me do something here real quick. Ambient occlusion, and let's do a matte cap so I can see these a little bit better. So in here, let's see, 1 and 2. I'm trying to think on which side to place it. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and select the items that are connected to this. And I'm going to go to normals and also screencast if anybody's interested. Let's select all these panel-like items. And I said I wanted to get just to one side. It seems like this is one piece, so I'm going to have to kind of cut it out a little bit. And there's the fuse sections and the cables. I'll try using these as well, see if I can place them anywhere. And those. Okay, so that's good for that. Let's duplicate it, paste it, move it to 1, and on 1. So we already have something going here. And yeah, the cables themselves don't seem to be going where this one is, which is a little bit of a bummer, but maybe I can fake it into like duplicate this box and kind of put it to the side so they kind of go into that same box. But first I want to cut out this section here. So let's go into front view and just make it all quads. Hopefully that's not going to break any of the shading. And remove these faces. And I'm going to also need this, just to put it on this side. And actually, now that I think about this, yeah, I'm going to do that at least for now. I was thinking of actually just flipping it on the x-axis. And let's show the normals. There. So alright, so we have that. And it can kind of go somewhere around there. You know, some of the cables going into it don't look too bad. Maybe bring it down a little bit. See how far. And we can make it a little smaller. I'm gonna try and make it a little smaller so that I'm putting it right beneath those cables there. Something like that. Let's join these together. And I'm gonna try and get this box kind of somewhere around here. Trying to make it a little smaller to cover where all those cables are just a little missing, or they're a little off. Okay, so that looks kind of interesting. I think it fits in with the fuses here. So let's try and export this as a version 2. And I'm just gonna bad place, but alright, export that. Let's import it and see how that looks. Hoping that it's also gonna bring in with the proper materials. We'll see how that looks. V2, there it is. And let's apply some materials to this. So one of them is going to be from here, which is number 2. And that's for that. Oh, is it for that, or some of these materials got a little messed up? There we go. Alright, so that's better. And I need this one for the interior. Let's see which one that is. It's for that, not for that one. And for that. So maybe not. That's not it. It could be this one. Which one we were looking at? Not that. Oh man, sometimes these materials kind of give me headache. Okay, so this is number 2 and number 1 add the switch. Alright, so that's the switch. And the exterior box. Which one's the exterior? This is the interior. Would it be this one? Yeah, it's this one. There we go. That actually looks pretty believable. And let's change our fuse box with this, with the V2. There we go. So now we have, it's looking pretty decent. I was thinking that the normals were gonna get a little bit messed up, but it looks quite alright. And one thing that I want to add now is a fuse box, right? Oh, or not a fuse box, but the actual fuse. So let me go ahead and find where this one lives. Should be in the same directory. And what I'll do is I'll import the fuse box over here. Let's see where that one got placed down here. So, you know, I mean, if you want to extend playtime, it might be that you need 4 fuses, right? Because there's 4. So, but at least for now, I'll try and make it so that we'll see how it works, at least for with one of them. So we have the fuse box is sort of in place, I think. And I need to make it a little smaller because I did make the whole thing of this a little smaller in Blender. So let's try and get it to a point where it's kind of fitting it in that location. So just about there. Okay. So now this one, we need to set its visibility. Since I don't have really animations where you put it in, like I've just played Dying Light 2 and it's got these cool animations where you put in like fuses and you kind of screw them in and you remove stuff, and since I don't have that, or at least not yet, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get around to doing it. I guess it could be done via some IK work, but at least for now, just make it visible and or invisible depending on its state. So in the construction script, if you have do action, then the fuse box, or the fuse itself, set visibility to not be visible. So compile that, and then in the event graph, if this is successful and I have the fuse box in my inventory and I get it removed, then I can change the visibility. Set visibility to true when I'm successful at removing the items needed for this to complete. And let's give it a try. See how that looks. So right now I have nothing. If I try to interact, let me remove some of these breakpoints. Oops. And right now I have nothing since it's I'm missing that item from my inventory. But let's take a look. If I pick up a fuse, let's pick up the fuse and try this again. And why is it not doing it? What's wrong with that? I guess I might have rushed into to remove the breakpoints. So let's see, I have a fuse here. Yeah, used to protect electrical devices, yada yada. So let's take a look. Why does that not? So it comes to replace fuse, and it goes into there. Huh, interesting. Why does it not wondering if it's because I don't have that quest yet. Let's try that again. So let's check in with Jim. Okay, so now I have the, or at least I should have the mission for the fuse. But it doesn't change properly. So let me try resetting this. And I'm gonna start over. So talk to Jim. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. Getting the soup can. Feeding Rocco, which, so it gets into the removing item. Yeah. Now checking in with Jim. Yeah, he's fed. Okay, completed. Talking to Jim about the fuse. Now let's find the fuse, and there it is. Finding the fuse. Now back to my panel. Alright, so now it's trying to finish the objective here. It's getting into now it's getting into the remove item, which is good. And now we have the fuse replaced, and which now it's showing right there, which is good. And the one thing is that it didn't change the text. Not entirely sure why, or so yeah, that's my mistake. One thing that I need to do is, as you can see in here, I'm changing the interaction state, but that doesn't really change the text, so I need to also set the text. And just Control W, and at this point I have the fuse visible, and I'm also going to change the interaction text to flip switch on. So that should do it. Let's see, I think I might need to reset it. Yeah, I might need to reset the quest because it's already been completed, you know, so from the previous game. But that is it. That is actually I'm pretty happy with what we managed to do for this stream. So so maybe that also gives a little bit of an insight into how some of these items interact with each other, like you know, this needing to you know, have the fuse in there to operate, and you needing to pick up the fuse from a quest, and also when this flips, it enables a different item in your world. And if you have any questions, you know, just you know, drop them in the comments, and I'll see if I can at least point you in the right direction. So that's going to be it for this week. I'll see you guys I think in a couple of weeks. Next weekend is Easter, and for myself, and y'all have a great week coming up, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, take care, everybody.